In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
Calls, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, lest you pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets cause there's no longer free. You cannot make a move now that the NSA can see. Don't expect equality, respect, or fair play. The IRS will target those who vote the wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to the place.
All right, folks, well, happy Tuesday evening. This is Rick Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, and it has been an extended vacation break for me for Thanksgiving. I do appreciate those of you who've decided to tune in for my triumphant return here. We do have a lot to talk about today, but first we are going to give a shout-out to all the affiliates that carry the station, this show, actually, coast to coast worldwide through AM, FM, and internet-based markets. The first one to ever pick us up, of course, was K98talk.com. That is now the station that I am considered the programming director of. Of course, there's the network that I built that started it all, which is the Spark Radio Network. And then, of course, the first outside network to pick us up was AMFM247.com, where this show can be heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 Eastern. It is carried in 8 low-power terrestrial markets as well as their internet stream. The next ones to pick us up after that were SHR Media, where the show can be heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 Eastern in the morning. Then, of course, we had Red State Talk Radio, where the show can be heard every Sunday morning at 6 Eastern. After that, we have Leading Edge Radio Network, where the show can be heard every Monday through Friday at 7 in the morning Central. I do believe that is 8 Eastern. Then we have High Point Radio, which got thrown in the mix sometime there somewhere. Sometimes I do mix them up. I don't necessarily remember the exact order they were all added in because they all started around the same time. But that one carries the show every Monday through Friday evening. Time actually unknown on that one. They've never told me when they actually run it, but I have caught it from time to time. I think it's sometime towards about 8 or 9 Eastern, but I'm not entirely sure. And then, of course, the last one to pick us up was WNJC 1360. That is the crown jewel. That is also our flagship terrestrial. K98 Talk is our flagship internet, where this show can be heard every Thursday for the moment at 1 Eastern. We are talking about trying to expand our footprint over there, to use a climate change term, the word footprint. We'll actually talk about that here in a little bit because the president's had a lot to say about carbon footprint lately and climate change and how it's worse than ISIS, but we'll get to all that in a bit. Now that we've done our due diligence and given the shout out to all the affiliates that carry us, which I want to give a shout out and a personal thank you to each and every one of them. Something else I haven't done in a while, I want to give a shout out to one of our very first sponsors. That was concealandcarry.net. The word conceal, the letter N, the word carry.net. Put that in a web browser, you go straight to them. You'll find a website that has a nice little nifty map. Click on the closest area to where you live. They'll open up a link that gives you stores and training facilities near you where you can get weapons training for firearms, you can get firearm supplies. It's just you can't go wrong, folks. So if you're looking for firearms, weaponry, training, anything like that, just make sure you go there first. Now, at this point, we are going to take a break, pay some bills. We'll be right back here in just a couple minutes once we get that squared away. As soon as I can find the one I'm looking for. We'll be right back, folks. Don't go away. Alright, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please? America Off the Rails has been declared a conservatives-only safe zone. Only conservatives allowed from this point forward. Any liberal, socialist, butthurt, hippie, tree huggers, please exit the facility immediately. Again, attention please. America Off the Rails is now designated as a conservative safe zone only. All butthurt, tree hugging, hippie, free to be you and me types exit the facility immediately. Thank you.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live, and I've officially cleared out the riffraff. So this is America Off the Rails. I am your host, Rick Robinson, and it's been about a week since I've been with you guys, and I can actually feel every second because it seems like it's been an eternity since I've done this. Radio is not like riding a bicycle, folks. You spend some time away from it, and all of a sudden it all feels like you're learning it all over again. But again, as I said a moment ago, I am Rick Robinson, a.k.a. your...
That guy in a little coat. That guy in a little coat.
Host of America Off the Rails, and I am going to kick off this evening. Unfortunately, it's kind of late. I hate to do this to you really late at night. Some of you are going to fall asleep while we're listening. Point of order, if you're ever having difficulty sleeping, just turn on Obama talking. Works wonders every single time. Sorry to do this to you at a late night, but there are a few things we need to go over. I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to let run, but we're going to start off the show and see if I can put a lot of you to sleep. So bear with me for just a moment here.
La parole.
Good afternoon, everybody. Prime Minister Modi and I apologize for being late, but I can assure you we were working. And hopefully helping to advance President Hollande's agenda in a successful Paris summit. I want to thank Francois, my fellow leaders, Prime Minister Modi, and Bill Gates, two of the driving forces behind today's announcement. We're here because we recognize the urgency of climate change, and we believe that there's something that we can all do about it, as long as we work together. And while the agreement that we seek in Paris will be forged by governments, the ambitious targets that we've set for ourselves are going to be reached in large part by the efforts of our scientists, our businesses, our workers, our investors. And that's why the private sector, from inventors to investors, will have a seat at the table throughout this process. Helping developing nations skip the dirty phase of development is vital to meeting this challenge. One of the things that Prime Minister Modi and I discussed is you've got 300 million people in India who still don't have electricity. We cannot forge a climate agreement that says they are permanently resigned to not having electricity. That's not an option. So we have to make sure that the same process of development is taking place, but using a whole new set of technologies and arrangements so that we don't have a conflict between development and solving this climate crisis. But the leap forward is going to take much more than pledges for development assistance from governments. It's going to take private sector efforts and a commitment to innovation and the capital to keep driving down the costs of clean energy all around the world. And that's why today we're announcing Mission Innovation. And I believe this is going to be one of the most significant public-private partnerships ever forged to accelerate energy innovation on a global scale. First of all, the 20 participating nations, representing more than 80% of global clean energy innovation dollars, we're going to seek to double our R&D budget over the next 5 years. Second, a coalition of 28 leading private investors from all over the world, including both Democrats and Republicans from the United States, some folks who support me and some folks who haven't always in the past on politics but do support the climate change agenda, are committing to invest unprecedented resources to bring those technologies to the market. And we know that this kind of partnership works. I'll give you an example. Shortly after I took office, the United States made the single biggest federal investment in clean energy in our history. And those investments helped drive down the cost of clean energy faster than anyone thought possible.
My God, are you still talking?
There are now thousands of private sector renewable energy projects nationwide. projects that employ tens of thousands of Americans and help drive down our carbon emissions. Thanks in part to these investments, America now generates 20 times as much solar power as we did in 2008. Last year was solar's biggest year ever. Prices fell by 10%, installations climbed by 30%, and the solar industry added jobs more than 10 times faster than the rest of the economy. Now, Bill has pointed out, and he's absolutely right, that we're also going to have to just invent some entirely new technologies. I mean, the truth is, if we adapt existing technologies and make them cheaper and faster and more readily available, if we improve energy efficiency, we're still only going to get part of the way there. And there's still going to be a big gap to fill. And that's where these research dollars become so important. Because we don't yet know exactly what's going to work best. But we know that if we put our best minds behind it, and we have the dollars behind it, we'll discover what works. We always have in the past, and we will this time as well. And there's not a direct correlation between how much money and how quickly we invent something, but I guarantee you, if we've got more minds working on it with more resources, the likelihood that we come up with an answer faster is going to be much higher. So between federal investments in these technologies and the private capital that helped scale up and deploy them, we already have places in America where the power from sun and wind is cheaper than dirtier conventional power from utilities. Now, there are issues in terms of distribution and storage and batteries, but the point is that we've seen more progress than we would have even imagined 7, 8 years ago. And we're already seeing America's biggest companies, like Apple, Google, Microsoft, Walmart, who've become some of the world's largest purchasers of clean energy.
Just
and
when I
they're
think
also
you've
in some
said the
cases becoming some
stupidest
of the
thing
largest
ever, you keep
clean
talking.
energy producers in the world. And they're doing this not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it makes good business sense. And by taking this approach on a global scale, with unprecedented investment in public research, an unprecedented pool of private capital, Mission Innovation will help deliver affordable clean energy and new jobs and opportunities to people around the world for decades to come. This is how we're going to solve this challenge, together. And that's at the heart of what we're trying to accomplish here in Paris. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. I especially want to thank Prime Minister Modi, who has been at the forefront in pursuing innovation that can help his country develop, but every country develop. And I want to thank Bill Gates, who has been visionary in this entire process and helped to gather the investors that are already stepping up. My expectation, knowing Bill, is that we'll see a lot more than 28 pretty soon. So thank you very much, everybody.
All right, so there you have the president's opening statement. Now, he did make some other remarks where he basically compared the global warming crisis to something akin to ISIS, and that we needed to keep most of our focus on the global climate change crisis because that is what is helping to create terrorism. You know, because the guys that live in the desert that are all of a sudden now upset because their temperatures raised by half a degree have now decided to get so angry they've slapped on suicide vests. Mr. President, I have a question for you, or more predominantly, this guy has a question for you.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
I'm just asking because, you know, I mean, this has been your shtick now for 7 years. There's so many other things that you could be focusing on, that you should be focusing on, but it keeps coming back to climate change. You keep dragging us back here, kicking and screaming, when most of the data doesn't even support your own arguments. And if Bryce is listening right now, he's screaming at the radio, but I don't care. Because the truth is, if you look at the data, everything they've told us was going to be happening since 2000, since 1990, since hell, when all of this started in the 1970s, is the biggest distraction from Carter ever. Because, you know, everybody thought we were going to freeze to death starting sometime in 76, 77-ish. You know, right in the middle of this now second worst presidential term we've ever had, because Obama made Carter look like a saint. Which actually Carter is a bit of a saint, let's be honest. I mean, the dude's got cancer and he's still out building homes for Habitat for Humanity. So you can't really say anything about him as a person. You can only say that he wasn't necessarily the best president ever. This guy, however, not only does he not give the impression of being a very good person, he's not a very bright person either. I mean, he's supposed to be, think about this for a second, he's supposed to be a professor in college. I thought they were required to have a modicum of intelligence, because he keeps dragging us back to climate change. Why does he keep dragging us back to climate change? Because it focuses the attention elsewhere. Climate change has been the sleight of hand that every administration that has ever done a crappy job has used. Starting with the Carter administration. Carter administration, everybody thought we were going to freeze to death. Shortly after that, other than the little indoctrination in school, the government really wasn't focusing on it very much, but it was all over like the Weekly Reader and stuff in the 80s, and they talked about how sometime in the late 2000s everybody was going to have to wear these really thick, big coats. Yeah, I'm old. I remember Weekly Reader. I know some of you do too. But that's okay, because I'm sure you remember, because there's two episodes that always stuck out to me, because neither one of them happened. There was the global cooling episode where they swore that by like the year 2000, everybody in the world was going to have to dress like an Eskimo. I was only like 8 years old. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, because back then, you know, when you're young, you like the snow, because one, it gets you out of school. Two, you get to go play in it and throw things and make snow angels and snowmen. Now I'm old and snow sucks, because it's not really very much snow. It all seems like most of the time it's ice, and ice does very bad things. But hey, you know, to each their own. The other really cool issue of Weekly Reader that I remember that I was also disappointed about was, I think it was sometime in the mid 80s. I know I was still in grade school and we hadn't left the state of Oklahoma yet. There was this issue where it talked about 3D television that was being invented in Japan, where it was actually like this tube of fog, and there was actually a projection into the tube of fog. And basically, however you moved, you could, like let's say, for example, there was a discussion going on, but from the angle that you were sitting at, there was a tree in the way. You could actually get up and move around the tree and see the characters, because it was a 3D representation of the entire thing in this little tube. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. It didn't happen. Same thing happened with global cooling. Where is it? Where's it at? What happened to it? Because it changed to global warming in the 90s. What happened there? You know, according to Al Gore, you know, the guy that invented the interwebs and became the father of climate change and global warming, more specifically, you know, according to him, by now we weren't supposed to have any ice caps. All the ice caps were supposed to be gone. The world was going to be flooding. According to Obama, and I was looking for this clip, I couldn't find it. I actually heard it today. I really, really wanted to find it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. He was talking about in Florida. This is how crazy this guy is, and how much he just completely gloms onto this idea, because it's the only marketable thing he has left. He was talking about how towns in Florida have fish swimming down their streets because they flood in the middle of the day. During low tide, there's fish in the streets. I know lots of folks that live in Florida. Nobody talks to me about fish in the streets. Does anybody talk to any of you about fish in the streets? I'm pretty sure that would be in the news somewhere. I mean, I know the media loves Obama, so if there were truly towns in Florida and, say, maybe, other coastal cities that had fish in the streets, like, swimming in the water in the streets, I'm pretty sure the media would be all over it. Talk about how Obama's been right this whole time, and us angry, evil conservatives, we're just angry, evil conservatives, and we're just wrong, because the president knew what he was talking about all along. Look at these poor fish that are swimming down the streets in the middle of Florida, man. I mean, come on. Where's the humanity? Are you kidding me right now? I mean, seriously. He actually said this. Does anybody not think to fact check this guy before they turn him loose? As he gets closer to the end of his own term, I think, or his second term, the one that he's not supposed to be able to move past, we'll talk about that another day, because I'm still not entirely sure that we're done with this guy yet. But that's a tinfoil hat moment, so we'll probably save that for Friday, because that's usually when I go a little further off the rails than usual. But has anybody noticed that as he gets closer and closer to what everybody perceives to be his finish line, he starts sounding more and more like Crazy Uncle Joe? I'm waiting for him to start calling out to his favorite butt buddy. I'm just saying, Uncle Joe did it. I can pull the clip if you want. Just so, everybody made fun of him for it. But, it's just the longer this second term seems to go, the more completely crazy the president seems to get. He actually literally said that there were fish swimming down streets in Florida. I'm not sure what town that is, but I'm pretty sure we probably would have heard about it. Not only that, but we have, what good did this summit actually do? Did it bring any money back into the Parisian economy? No, it cost them money. Did it bring any awareness for the attack they recently suffered? No, because we were too busy talking about polar bears and how everybody's got to go along to get along to save the polar bear. And he was bragging about the number of countries that were there. So you're telling me it's a good thing that the majority of the planet is buying the Bravo Sierra that you're selling? Or as another friend of mine likes to put it, male bovine excrement. Are you really sure that's a good thing? Because I, for one, really not very sure that that is a good thing. I'm just saying. Because the whole point of the matter is we lost the ability of critical thinking at some point along the way. And it's not necessarily that it's been lost as much as it seems to have been removed. We now live in a world where children who are playing with food, who chew it into the shape of a gun, are suspended from school. Not because the Pop-Tart that was chewed into the shape of a gun can actually do any harm, but because they were making threatening gestures with a piece of food. We now have children that are taught in school if someone attacks them, they should assume the position of an armadillo and await help. Meanwhile, exposing them to even possible worse injury, and God knows what else, because Lord knows how long it's going to take for a teacher to get there. This is the world we find ourselves in today, ladies and gentlemen. The world where climate change is the only thing that matters, and ISIS is the JV team. That is the world Obama is leaving behind. That is the world that each and every one of you who have now voted for him not only once, but twice, are leaving to your children, grandchildren, and their children and grandchildren, whether you want to admit it or not. So tonight, because I've had a bit of a break, the gloves are coming off. I'm done pulling punches. I'm done holding back. The simple fact of the matter is we are in trouble, and this president illustrates the very worst things that have happened in the past in this country. Now, when we come back from the break, here in just a couple minutes, we're going to talk about the person that epitomizes the worst of what could be the future of America, which would be Mr. Donald Trump. I do have a clip of something that he said recently, if I can get it pulled up while we're on the break, that I really want you to listen to. And then I'm going to spend a good portion of the last part of the show talking about that, because I have to say, you can call me a turncoat, you can call me whatever you want to call me, because up until now, I've told you this one thing, and it was a true statement at the time that I made it. I will not, or at that time, I would not have voted for Trump for the primary, but I would have voted for him in the general until now. And when we come back from break, I will let you know exactly why that has changed for me. As soon as I can find the button I'm looking for. All right, folks, we will be right back. Don't go away. All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
To make it. Everybody. For our own cause, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, lest you pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets cause there's no longer free.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. And as promised, when we went to break, I told you I would tell you why it is that I've had a major mind change when it comes to presidential candidate and hopeful Mr. Donald Trump. Now, I'm not going to necessarily just tell you, but I am going to show you why it is that I've changed my mind. And I'm going to do that by letting you hear a clip. Now, the clip won't necessarily do it justice because most of what he's doing is actually visual, but you can still hear his tone of voice, and you'll know what he's doing when you hear it. And then I'm going to go into a little more detail.
Donald Trump facing new criticism for something he did on the campaign trail last night in South Carolina while defending his debunked claim that he saw thousands of Muslims celebrate the collapse of the Twin Towers here in New York. He appeared to mock a reporter with a disability. Take a look.
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Maybe that's what I said. This was 14 years ago. They didn't do a retraction.
That reporter he is talking about is Serge Kovaleski, who now works for the New York Times.
All right, so the reporter of that story actually goes on to give a little more detail about what it is that Obama, I almost said Obama, which I guess there really isn't that much difference between the two of them if you really want to get right down to it. But here's my thought with this. And you can call me whatever names you want to call me because I have to tell you, you Trumpkins out there, you are some vile people for the most part. I have been able to have rational discussions with everybody that I have ever disagreed with, whether they be liberal or conservative, for the most part, unless they're grammar Nazi dickweeds who want to do nothing but point out the fact that I've made a typo here and there when I'm on Twitter or during an article. Okay, so fine. I never claimed to be perfect, but here's my thing. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy debating with them. I enjoy discussing things. I enjoy getting alternate points of view. But here's my problem with all of you Trumpkins out there. You are now being elevated to the status of Trump bots. You are no different, for the most part, and I'm not trying to lump all of you together because I've talked to a few of you who are supporting Trump for all of the right reasons, and I understand your mindset. I really do. But there are a vast majority of Trump supporters out there, aka Trumpkins, who now, in my book, have been elevated to the status of Trump bot. Because they're no different than the Obama boss that everybody that is conservative has made fun of for the last now nearly going on 8 years. Because they blindly follow the man around and believe everything that he tells them. And this is my problem with Trump. I said it on Finding Common Ground this last Saturday. I'm going to say it again. With as vile as this man's behavior is, and no matter what you think of him personally, you cannot tell me this was not vile behavior. I have children with developmental disabilities. I want to punch him in the face. Because of situations beyond my control, I have been made fun of, much like Donald Trump just did this reporter. And that makes me want to punch him in the face too. But more so for my children. I'm used to it from me. I've gotten used to who I am. I've gotten comfortable in my own skin. I now make fun of myself more often than anybody else ever could. Not as a defense mechanism, but because it's how I finally learned to be comfortable in my own skin again. It's how I got to know who I am on the inside instead of letting everybody focus on the outside. Because for the longest time, I was too busy focused on the outside. So if I had to guess, I would say that the reporter that these statements were made about, probably not upset, because I've been where he is. Coping is something that you have to do when you're different. It really is pretty much that simple. But the simple fact of the matter is that we have someone who is seeking the highest office in the land and basically unchecked power anymore because each president before him will have stripped away any control that the other branches of government, these co-equal branches, were supposed to have. And anybody who wants to give all the credit to Obama, you're really not paying attention. Now, Obama has done a lot of very bad things that have made anything the other presidents have tried to do to shore up their own power look like child's play. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of the other presidents before him have done things they honestly shouldn't have done to make the office more strong for them while they were there. The problem is that if, and this is what I hope to be a very large if, Donald Trump gets the nod, I can't vote for him in the general anymore. Not only can I not, I would sooner write in Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or even Goofy, the dog, for God's sake, or Pluto even, the dog, than vote for Donald Trump. I cannot do it, because anyone who would belittle people the way that he does is insane. I mean, everybody wants to talk about how he's speaking the truth for America. He's saying what Americans really think. He's telling America how they truly feel, or letting them hear it from somebody else because they've had all these pent-up frustrations for all of these years. If he is telling us if he's letting the rest of the world see who we are on the inside, we deserve to burn. Can I just say that now? If you don't like what I'm saying, turn off the radio. I don't care. Stop listening. Turn it off. Never come back. I don't care. I don't do this to win friends and influence people. I do this because this country is falling apart, and this was the only way that I could find to hopefully at some point make a difference, even if it was a very small difference, and mainly for my own sanity. So I tell you, all of you, the small core group that you are that tune into this show every day on K98 Talk, and all of the other places where a lot of you listen around the world and around the country, you need to listen to what I'm telling you right now. We are to the point, because of the parallels in history to a former time, aka World War II. If we are not very careful, we are headed down that same road, but this time it will not be with countries. Not necessarily. It will be religious beliefs coming to blows between the ISIS extremists and the Christians who feel like they don't have any choice but to defend themselves from the Islamic extremists. And bad things are going to happen. But one of the worst things that could happen is to give someone like Donald Trump the keys to the country on the eve of us possibly doing something that would make us akin to Germany. He's already talking about making the Muslims in this country wear specific markings. Does any of that sound familiar? Special ID cards. Does any of that sound familiar? Is that really what we need to be doing? Because I will tell you, I am just as afraid of the Muslims as pretty much everybody else in this country. And not because I'm this Islamophobic terrorist, because the simple fact of the matter is you don't know who's a terrorist and who's not until they pull the trigger. So I understand the fear. But that's the thing with America. We used to be the group that wouldn't let fear tell us what it was that we needed to do. We wouldn't let fear be what ruled the day. I'm telling you right now today, and this is what I believe in my heart. Call me crazy, call me whatever you want. If Donald Trump becomes the President of the United States, he will be the Hitler of World War III. He will be one of the catalyst driving forces that pushes us into World War III. I don't know if anybody else can stop it, but I damn sure know that he'll be one of the ones at the forefront pushing. Because it's all he knows how to do. He's been treating his entire campaign like it's a reality TV show. Look at what he does to gin up his fans. He slams everybody that's in front of him, from Rosie O'Donnell, which, believe me, she deserves a little bit, I'm just saying. She's able-bodied, she's normal, so fair game. I understand that when you're trying to win friends and influence people, sometimes you gotta do things to ruffle some feathers. I understand that. Believe me, I really do. But did you have to go here, Mr. Trump? Was this really a line that you had to cross? Because I'm telling you, not everybody knows somebody who's Hispanic who came here legally or even illegally. Not everybody has family members or knows somebody that is an illegal alien. But almost everybody in the country is either related to or knows someone with special needs. And you basically just slammed every single one of them to prove a point. When, if what you're saying is true, all you had to do was go talk to your friends. You've got a lot of friends in really high places who could find some of the things that have been coming out, if they're true, about these police reports that happened in 9/11 or during 9/11, where they were talking about people of what appear to be Muslim descent dancing on rooftops in places like New York and New Jersey. There were ways for you to prove you were right without being a dick. This seems to be something that we've lost track of in this country. Who was it that said speak softly but carry a big stick? Not yell verbosely and act like a big dick, which is what seems to be what this country wants anymore. I mean, have we really fallen so far, so fast, that the conservative idea on the way to fix America is to put this guy at the helm? At what cost, America? What will be left of who we truly are with this guy at the helm? We've already lost so much of who we are and what we stand for. Are we willing to flush the rest of it away just so that we can have a strong economy? Because if we are, I'm telling you, a lot of us on the station have been making noise about moving away if this happens. I'm not sure if I'm moving, but I will damn sure be considering building a wall. I mean, what point is any of this if we've lost our way? If we're no longer who we were? And we are a damn sight from who we once were. Let's not mince words. We have become a milquetoast society, and I understand that. And maybe my reaction to the reporter being made fun of in a lot of your eyes is a milquetoast response. I've been told that. I've been told I'm being milquetoast over this entire thing. Been told I'm being a pansy. Been told that I'm succumbing to political correctness. No, I'm not. I'm succumbing to human decency because we still have that for the moment. And I understand that for a lot of us out there, this is a dog-eat-dog world and survival of the fittest and all of that jazz, and I get that. But we still have to take care of the people that need to be taken care of. And our disabled are not targets. They're not people to be belittled. They're not people to be ridiculed. They're people that need to be protected. And why do I bring this up? Why have I brought all of this up? Because there was something that struck home to me about every single bit of this, because I've been telling everybody for the last couple of weeks now that if we're not careful, Donald Trump will probably be the next Adolf Hitler, to a point. I'm not saying he is Hitler. I'm drawing a comparison, so all you Trump bots out there, go away. But my point is, there's a show that I've been watching on Amazon. Speaking of which, sponsor, go check them out, buy some stuff from them. Awesome sauce. Within the next few days, we'll actually get some links put up on the website. So since a lot of you do shop on Amazon, Christmas coming up, make sure you go to k98talk.org first. Click on the Amazon link, which isn't there yet, by the way, so don't rush out there right now. I'll make an announcement when I finally get around to putting it up there, because, it's a little difficult to get everything done. But, I have Amazon Prime. Great service. Bought an Amazon Fire Stick. Been watching this great show, The Man in the High Castle. It's basically an alternate history where it's, I believe, 1965, 1966-ish, and America lost the war. So, not to give out too much information, because I really want you guys to go check out the show, not necessarily just because Amazon is a sponsor, but because the show is really cool. There's a scene where one of the main characters is actually speaking to a police officer, and all of a sudden this little fine dusting of stuff starts falling from the sky. So first the guy's kind of looking around like, hey, is it snowing? What's going on? No, it turns out that the officer explains that, that this time every day in this particular town, the hospital actually incinerates the elderly and the infirm. So the next time, those of you who have this really cool idea of, just making fun of somebody just because they're slightly different than you, just remember how close you are to having a society like that, where the elderly and the infirm no longer matter. Isn't that one of the things that we've been railing about with Obamacare? Is the death panels that nobody wants to talk about are actually probably there? Because there are cost overruns all over that thing that nobody knows anything about, because nobody read it. So we're all like, oh my God, what's going to happen to the elderly? What's going to happen to the disabled? But we have a presidential candidate who wants to take pot shots at a disabled person for an article that was written 14 years ago? Why does it matter? Right or wrong, you said what you said, Mr. Trump. If you can provide proof that you saw what you saw and that there's proof of what you saw, that should have been the road that you took. Not belittling a man who, at that time, felt he was doing his job, and you had to make fun of him because he's different. You know what? I wouldn't have an issue at all with you calling him on the carpet for not printing a retraction for a story that you say was false if you prove that it was false. My issue from day one is you shouldn't have attacked his disability. Because you have chosen to do that, because you have given for that 130 seconds a brief insight into who you truly are at your core, I can no longer support you. And I will not do it. If I lose fans, if I lose traction, I don't care. I didn't start any of this to win friends and influence people. I started this because the country is going to hell and I didn't know what to do. I, like a lot of you, listened to the rhetoric of Obama for the last few months before he won that first term. And I kept telling myself, maybe it won't be so bad. I listened to his speech that he made after he won. Maybe it won't be so bad. We're all still Americans. We always do this. We pitch, we scream, we yell for the guy that we want, and then when it's all said and done, everybody falls in line and they support the new guy. except he hasn't done a damn thing that he said he was going to do, except for two very important things that he was honest about. He told you he was going to get Obamacare passed, come hell or high water. He told you he was going to get Gitmo closed, come hell or high water. He's working on that one right now. He's already threatened to bypass Congress if they don't go along with him. And the other thing that he told you he was going to do was fundamentally transform America. His exact words for the entire run-up for weeks of that final election tally where we're just weeks away, we're just days away, we're just 1 day away, we're just 2 days away from fundamentally transforming America. Let me tell you, folks, he did it. He pulled it off, and not in the way that any of us wanted, not in the way that any of us wanted to see, but it has happened. We are no longer who we once were. We now fight each other in the streets. We now gun down police officers. We have police officers that gun down innocent people. We are no longer who we once were. We have lost sight of what matters here in America, and I'm here to tell you that putting Donald Trump in that ultimate seat of power will only make it worse, because absolute power corrupts absolutely, and he's already showing you who he is. He's no different than Obama. He's the guy telling you what you want to hear to get you to pull the lever, to give him the power that he needs to look out for him and his friends. Do you honestly think that Donald effing Trump is going to do anything to recode the IRS? He's already told you he's made the majority of his fortune by working inside of the tax code and with the bankruptcy laws. And you think he's honestly going to change those things? Have you lost your mind? I hear everyone talk about how Trump is the guy that's speaking for America. No, he's not. He's speaking for those of you that are so angry that you can't see straight anymore. And I understand your frustration. I really do. But he's not the guy that needs your vote. I'm not telling you who you need to vote for other than Trump. I'm telling you, you do not need to vote for that man. You can tell me whatever you want. You can call me whatever name you want. It does not change the fact that this man is not a good person. I know I've heard from plenty of people involved in talk radio and politics that have said they've met him. He seems very amiable, seems like a really great guy, cares about his family. I'm telling you, the dude has said some of the scariest things ever, and I'm not just talking about this most recent thing. Does anybody remember when he talked about his daughter and how attractive that she was, and I'd date her if she wasn't my daughter? A father does not say those type of things. You don't look at your child as a sexual object if you are a normal person. I know this. I have daughters. I have daughters that are now adults. When I look at them, I still see the 2- and 3-year-old little girls that used to sit on my lap and want to play patty cake. Because that's what I see. Yes, they're adults now. I'm sure they've done things I never want to hear that they've done. But that doesn't mean that I look at them and go, ooh, pardon me. Ooh, she's hot. I'd do her if she wasn't my daughter. Ew. And then he does this on top of everything else that he's done. You're telling me this is the best and brightest choice for America's future? Because if the majority of the conservative populace actually feels this is the best and brightest choice for America's future, stop the frickin' world, Ma. I want to get off. You're telling me that the best choice that we can make is a guy that belittles everyone that disagrees with him, that attacks every media outlet that says something that he doesn't like. What the hell happened to free speech? What's going to happen to shows like mine when we have President Donald Trump? Is that what? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why Hannity and Limbaugh and everybody else are sucking up to the guy. Maybe they're already seeing the writing on the wall. Maybe I missed the memo. I don't know. But what I do know is I will not be that guy. I will not back down. I will not surrender. It will not happen. Like I said, I didn't do any of this to make friends and make everybody all feel warm and fuzzy. I did this because I didn't know what else to do. It all started as a Facebook page. I needed somewhere to vent. And as it continued to build and grow, a talk show seemed like the next natural thing to do. So we did. Now it's several talk shows turned into a network. A lot of the shows are carried on several different platforms, most of which are internet-based, some of which are terrestrial radio. But that's the whole thing. All of this was done for a very specific goal. Because there were too many big people involved in talk radio that I didn't feel like we're listening to the common man anymore. But now my problem is I don't even know if I know who the common man is anymore. Because I hear everybody every single day in small groups talking about how they think Donald Trump is the way to go. And I'm looking at the guy going, am I seeing the same person that you're seeing? I feel like Roddy Piper from They Live. You know, the movie where he's running around in the sunglasses and it turns out that half the planet is taken over by aliens. And he's the only one that can see them because of the glasses. I'm starting to feel like maybe I have one of those internal things that makes me see crazy people everywhere when they're... Maybe I'm the crazy one. Who the hell knows? What I do know is that I cannot and I will not vote for Donald Trump. I won't tell you who to vote for, but I will implore you not to vote for him. You still have your freedoms, you still have the ability to make your own choices, and I'm not telling you you cannot do that. But for those of you that listen to the show on a daily basis, that have put the time in to get to know me, to speak to me, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or email or however it is that you choose to communicate, I do hope that you understand I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm imploring you to take a closer look at your candidate if you feel that Trump is your guy. Because maybe I'm seeing something that you're not, or maybe I'm crazy. The ultimate final decision is going to be up to you. But what I can tell you is that no matter what, I will now be ridiculed, much like the folks that couldn't support Romney in 2012 were, if Donald Trump gets the nod. Because I cannot and I will not vote for a man who takes it upon himself to make fun of the disabled. If that makes me someone who is a single issue voter or non-voter in this case, you know, I cannot in good conscience pull the lever for the guy. I just can't do it. I know some of you are sad. Some of you have turned off the show since it started. Some of you have already unfollowed me on Twitter. Some of you are basically just saying, I'm never listening to this guy again. I hope and pray that that's not a true statement and that we can agree to disagree and keep on moving on to try to make the country a better place. But if you are a Trump supporter, all I'm asking you to do is take a closer look. All right, folks, this has been America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. I'll be back with you live tomorrow night. Don't forget to tune in for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Don't have a commercial for him, so I got to ad-lib it. We'll talk later, folks. Have a good night.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.